morning, good afternoon, good branching, whatever it is. I hope and pray that you're happy and that it's a good day for you. My name is Daniel Duwa. This is Conversation with Daniel Duwa. This has been one of the easiest conversations I ever had, yet one of the most difficult production yet. We recorded this mid-2020, yet in full disclosure, the wheels came off 3 times. Corrupted files frozen on the storage, and even once I could play it once I published it. However, I am a very spiritual person and the stars aligned. Given the world fell off its axis, in the past week I have gotten the same query from like 7 people or from all over the globe. They've been asking how they can reinvent. And I found out that the insight that I was sharing with them were the exact insight that I got from my guest today. It's been, to be honest, very overwhelming. With this in mind, I'd like to introduce you to my guest today. We met on Twitter as a collective of professionals spanning the globe. It's a collective of different people from different walks of lives, and they're all high achievers. Soon, probably, I'll be introducing you to all of them. Hopefully, that's the plan. That's a plan I have. In the meantime, I want to introduce you to my guest today, who is an exceptional woman, a maestro of reinvention, and a change agent. Also, a generation change agent at that. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I haven't said that in a while. I'd like to give you Dorethea Kemp. My name is Daniel Duwa. This is Conversation with Daniel Duwa. I appreciate you being here. Now to my conversation with Dorethea.
It's not work. Like I said, it's not work. It's our passion. So we don't mind at all.
Good stuff. Something that I just realized is we started halfway through because of technical issues. We just couldn't get a good connection. I would like us to go back. Really back.
Okay.
And what people might not know is we met on Twitter and we just formed a group from all over the world.
Yes, it's really nice.
Please talk about the group first, and then we get into the thick of things.
Yeah, it's funny because when Twitter first came out, I didn't really think about it too much. I was like, oh, it's just another social network. I don't need to jump on there. But then Twitter figured out that they needed to be able to appeal to business people. And once they did that and they made it more business oriented, then I went ahead and created a profile. And, I just kind of jumped out there. I either in my same industry or had similar interests. I was fortunate enough to connect with people like Terry Nakamura, and Deke Bridges, Cliff Ping. Oh, they're just great people. They're wonderful people. The group really grew, kind of organically, and unfortunately, we lost a couple. We actually had a couple of deaths in our group. I didn't realize how hard that would be. It was like losing a family member. And one guy, the cancer, by the time he found it out, it was like a really aggressive cancer. And we lost him in a matter of weeks from the time we found out to the time he actually passed. And we were, the whole group took like a body blow, but, we soldiered on and we added some more people. Not that we were replacing them, but, did add some more people. Bev and John Dewberry, they're wonderful people, and, having them is just so great. I remember when Kendall, he saw one of our breakfast tweets, and he jumped in and asked if he could start being included. And we were like, sure, we're happy to have you. It's just meeting people like that who are positive and, full of energy and driven for good things is like the best thing about social media. And Twitter, I think, has a better grasp of that than some of the other social medias. I think Instagram is really me focused. Like you said, people are all about me. I think Facebook has kind of turned into a whining platform. I don't know if you noticed, but there's a lot of whining on Facebook.
Yeah, there is.
So I don't tend to go on Facebook a lot. I usually post on there from Hootsuite, and I'll go in like once a week and kind of reply to anybody who's messaged me or anything, but I don't even have Facebook signed in on my phone.
It feels like there's been a kind of like a segregation of all this social media. But I also feel like a lot of people just, after all the debacle and scandals of last year with social media and social networks, people just signed off some of these networks. For example, I don't have the stuff on my phone, and I only tweet from my tablet, or I won't have some of the stuff on my phone. And I don't have notification. I haven't had notification in a while. But then also I was in media when I was a kid, and I stopped watching news probably when I was 16 and a half, when I got to media first, because I saw the effect of that. But you find now we have a generation of people now who they feel like if they read something online, it's real. In fact, I was watching comedy just a few minutes before we got started, and this comedian was saying that if a mad person was to shout in the street and go like, I am Paul, or I am whatever it is, people would ignore them. But if somebody did this on social media, we have this nudge to feel like we need to reply to them, and we waste a lot of time that way. Far and beyond that, I feel like as much as we say social media is a problem, we met on social media, and it wasn't structured. It was just about breakfast, cakes and pancakes and cards, basically, for most part.
Yeah.
And we didn't wake up in the morning and say, let's form a group. It just became a thing. That organic reach. Also, I feel like it's people of kind of not like, or not the similar interests, but kind of like minds in a way. I don't know if that's true.
Yes, I think it is. I think the group that we have going is, even though we're in various industries, we all have a similar mindset of, making things better and not making things worse. And that's really important. And yeah, social media can obviously be used for good.
I lost you for a few minutes. You're saying social media?
Oh, okay. Oh, I was saying social media can be used for good. And it does help in a lot of ways. But I think that Facebook in particular has allowed itself to go down a path that's not positive. A lot of people have signed off as a result. There are even teenagers are leaving Facebook because of the bullying that goes on, which I never understood that, because I don't understand why you wouldn't block people who are bullying you and the people who are passing it on. If someone says they're your friend, but they're passing you bullying messages, it's not really a friend. Tell the bully, don't talk about my friend, and just keep going.
I think it's kind of like high school all over again. There are all these cliques, the cool kids, the nerd kids. The only difference now it's adults who are doing this. I feel like we need a social study or an anthropology, because these things are new. They're only 10 years old, I feel like we kind of didn't think through this because we were so excited we're going to get a network. When they build roads, they were like, okay, there's a fast accident, let's put speed bumps and speed limits and all those kind of things. On social media and on the internet, I don't feel like we thought through that. We're still just catching up.
It was not thought through. Absolutely, it was not. Even the creators have acknowledged that they never saw this coming. And so now, in particular, Stanford University, they have one of the biggest tech centers. They've actually developed a curriculum for the ethics of technology. And they're trying to get the students to think through the whole system. If they're building something, think it through. Okay, so this is what you're creating it for, but what could it be used for if somebody wanted to do something bad? They're actually trying to get them to think that through in advance now, which is really good. Doesn't change where we are now, but it does have hopes for the future that other products that come out will be different. Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, they never let their kids use technology like we let our kids use technology. And they didn't tell us that. Think about it. If you were the head of a company that was building tablets and every kid in school had one, and you were rich and your kids knew that you could just grab them for free, and you were telling them, no, you can't have one until you're 15, that indicates you know something about that product that you're not telling the rest of the public. And I feel like that was a failure. That was a major failure, but nobody tells you when you go and buy a bottle of whiskey, if you drink this whole thing in one sitting, you might die. If you do, you just do, so,
True.
there's responsibility for the producers, but there's also responsibility of the consumer. I mean, we as consumers have to be a little bit more wise about the way we adopt technology. Don't just jump feet first in on everything like WhatsApp. WhatsApp became a big bullying platform. A lot of parents weren't monitoring their children on it, and stuff happened. Unfortunate stuff. When I was raising my daughter, I never cut her loose on anything, just 100%. When she was in high school, she had 2 cell phones. And the reason is because she was on a competitive cheer team, and her main phone, there was some little buggy hangouts where they would go to competitions, and she couldn't get connection on there. So she would go to her backup phone. And I paid the bill on both of them, but I told her, I said, I own these phones. I will look at them when I feel like it. If there's something on there I don't approve of or something inappropriate, you will lose both the phones. You will not be on the cheerleading team. You will be grounded. So she understood. And I also told her, I will periodically Google your name. If you come up somewhere inappropriate, you'll be in a lot of trouble. And she understood that there were responsibilities. If she got caught using it the way it wasn't supposed to be used, there would be consequences, and they would be severe. I don't think parents, they just assume their kid is not going to do anything wrong. I assume that a kid is going to do something wrong until they know better. Tell them first, and then they know better. Because kids don't think the way we think, very logically and rationally and stuff. Kids don't think that way.
So true, so true. But then also in terms of parenting in 2020, in this decade, and stuff has changed because there's so much that's available now, and there's so much that's in the world. It's a big challenge, is it not? Because the world has changed.
It's huge. Yeah. Yes, it's huge. But the nature of parenting hasn't changed. The nature of parenting is to educate, guide, and discipline your kids.
This is my conversation with Dorethea. Right now, we're going to take a tiny little break. Just enough time for me to tell you that Giuliani has a new book. It's called Masterpiece. Yes, your favorite artist, Giuliani, has a new book, and you can find it on his page, Giuliani Kenya. It's an amazing book. I had a chance to sit down with him and for a very brief time in my other podcast. It's called Kenyan Stories, Giuliani and Kenyan Story. You can also find Pinky on Kenyan Story, and a lot of notable Kenyans coming your way on Kenyan Stories by Daniel Duwa. In the meantime, let's go back to the insights with my conversation with an awesome impact and change agent. Her name is Dorethea. My name is Daniel. Let's go back to that conversation, me and Dorethea. Funny story. I was talking to a friend of mine, and apparently Microsoft Windows, Word really, the best experience is on an iPad, not Windows itself. That was weird.
Very weird. You get a better experience of a Windows product on an Apple product.
Yes.
Okay.
It's crazy.
Yeah, sorry, Microsoft. You got spanked.
But that's a good thing. So I like the direction they're taking now. Because they used to make hardware, now they just make solutions for companies and people like us. So that's kind of good.
Right. The Windows Phone was like an epic failure. They entered that market so late. It was just ridiculous. Like, why would anybody want to use a Windows platform on their phone after getting used to Android and iOS? It just didn't make sense. When you're late to the party, you have to bring something different than everybody else brought. True.
True. But I'm kind of biased because I came late to Nokia. I was more of a Motorola person because they had those two-way radios. And then when we started out, two-way radio was a really big thing. So in production, because you had those two-way radios, you needed to talk to people. Yeah. So when phones came the first time, I was like, I'm staying with the brand. So I took Motorola phones, and they had a Trio phone and stuff like that. I didn't like BlackBerry very much because it was so addictive.
Yeah, I never was a BlackBerry fan.
But Motorola's were worse. Motorola's were worse in terms of texting. You couldn't text, but the connection was really great. The problem was they were not as cool. So the first time I ever touched a phone which was not a Motorola or American was a Nokia, and it was late in the day, and there was something they made which was the N series, which was kind of like before iPhone, because it had all these functions that we have on iPhone now. Except the apps, yeah. It was crazy. And then Microsoft bought it. That's why I was saying I'm biased.
They bought it and then they killed it.
Yeah. And sometimes I feel like they bought it for patent.
Unfortunately, a lot of big companies buy other companies to kill them. It's a competition thing, and they're willing to spend the money just to close it down, which is very, very bad.
But I think it's where we are today. We're in a world where IP is more important than even actual products or something. I don't know, but I'm thinking that that's a major issue.
Even with having a small business, it's like you want to grow, you want to be successful, but you don't want to be so successful that you attract somebody's attention and they buy you out and smack you down.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, you have to be careful nowadays.
Don't you think that has always been a thing? Or you build a business so that you can be big enough to have economic of scales to do the things that big business do? I don't want to be big enough for somebody to come by me. I didn't build a business to be a billionaire. I built a business to do something I enjoy and make a living at. I would not feel comfortable with somebody coming to buy me out because I don't feel like they would run it the way that I have. I wouldn't want to turn my customers over to somebody who isn't going to treat them right. And I certainly wouldn't want to have somebody else's creative vision driving this. This isn't something I would want to sell out at all. And I know some people do, that's their goal, but that's not my goal at all. Yeah, so it just depends on why you got into business. And I did it for passion. But the opposite will be true, because, for example, you're building a business right now. Don't you feel like if you are successful to the level where you can be the business you want and then create that opportunity for other people?
And that's wonderful.
Yeah.
I just don't want somebody else to come along trying to buy me out. That's not something I would want. But I do want to create opportunities. As a matter of fact, one of the things that we're planning for this year is to take on some interns. And I've connected with a gentleman who runs a youth group where they train the kids in how to become productive, basically employees. And they actually pay the kids to have summer internships. So the kids actually get money, and you're able to take them out and train them and show them what you do and how you do it. It's going to be something I'm kind of looking forward to this summer. That's one of the things that drives me is, I want kids in my community to understand that they can, grab things in their own hands that they're passionate about and dive in and make a living at it. And they don't have to flip burgers for a living. Although you got to start flipping burgers. Because you got to buy your equipment.
True, very true. Yeah.
Flipping burgers is honorable work, but just use it to springboard yourself.
So very true. I think also that skill is being lost because now we live in a generation where everybody wants stuff today, right now. I remember growing up, you went through the notions and you went through the system from scratch, and there was something
Absolutely.
about internship and apprenticeship. And right now, people just I want to be a billionaire because I want to be a billionaire. There are no skills there.
I want to be a YouTube star.
Yes, and there's nothing wrong with being a YouTube star so long as you're bringing value to.
Right.
Yes.
Right. I want to be on YouTube doing crazy videos and making a bunch of money.
I mean, I'm a bit older, so I don't understand it, but I get the logic. There'll always be trends and fashion and stuff. I also feel like over time, people with skills, experts and stuff like that, or even if they start at that level and then they grow it into something which is a tangible business, that becomes a thing. But if it's just YouTube for YouTube, then you don't, I mean, there's no, what's the skill, what do you graduate into? So those are challenging times. So you don't have a YouTube channel and you're not starting one soon?
I actually have a YouTube channel. But it's just for promotional purposes. I don't really do a whole lot with it. And I have nothing against YouTube. It's just that they actually did a survey and they said, like something like 40% of the youth in the inner city, they don't feel like they have to work hard in school because they're going to become a YouTube star and make $1 million on YouTube advertising. And it's like, well, first of all, you're just doing crazy stuff. You're not bringing value to anyone. So why would anybody advertise on your channels? There needs to be, I think, within the educational system, they need to explain how these people became YouTube stars. They didn't just get on there and all of a sudden start making millions of dollars. There was, they were adding something to the marketplace that wasn't there before. So you can't just get on there doing anything and make money. There's nothing wrong with making money on there. There's actually a young man whose father let him drop out of school and be homeschooled, and he spends half of his day doing the homeschool work, and the other half of the day he spends playing video games and streaming them because his YouTube streaming channel is making so much money, it's going to pay for his college. So his father, he ran the numbers. He's like, why wouldn't I? But his kid also is self-motivated enough to do the work at home and do his streaming. There's a balance there. Not every kid can do that. They need to understand, okay, I might want to do this, but if it's not within me to be disciplined enough to do this, then maybe I need to think of something else. And I don't think some of these kids, they're not getting the information they need to think that through, which, when you're a teenager, you know nothing. So.
So true. Very, very true.
Yeah. But it needs to be addressed within the school system, I think, that they need to do some entrepreneurial training as part of, I think, like math courses. I think that would feed very much into math courses, like how many subscribers do you need with the ad paying out at 6 cents a click? How many do you need and how many clicks do you need before you can make a living at that? That would be a great project for somebody to give at school, but they're not moving fast enough in the educational system to keep up with what's available for the kids. That's where the internships are going to come in very handy.
Please tell me about this internship that's running. Did you say next summer?
Yeah, this coming summer. I forget the name of the gentleman's group, but what they do is they have the teenagers go through 12 weeks of training where they train them to use the computers. They train them on professionalism, on how to dress, how to communicate, and so forth. So they get 12 weeks of training while they're in school. And then during the summer, they place them with various businesses into internships, and they pay them. They have a grant where they're paying the students. Then you take them and you give them the experience, helping you do stuff in the business. We're actually planning some, when I say we, I'm referring to my brother and my cousin and myself. We have individual businesses, but we work as a group and a team. And we're planning on taking on some interns this summer to help us do some expansion. We're planning some big things coming up. So hopefully it'll all work together, and this group, it'll give us a chance to get interns, because we were wondering, we need to pay them something. We were thinking, we don't want to just have them work for free. We've all been offered free internships, and I just don't think that's a fair trade-off. Interns should get some, maybe not full price like everybody else does, but they should get something. Nobody should show up to work a job for free. I mean, we had that and it was called slavery. That didn't work out well.
No, it didn't.
So, renaming the intern doesn't make it cuter.
No, it doesn't.
So, yeah, this opportunity came to link up with this organization. That's going to be exciting this summer. And like I said, we're doing some things to expand the business. Right now, I'm working on some marketing materials. We're going to be putting out some videos. And we have a couple of scripts we're working on for some mini movies that we're going to put out. Lots of exciting stuff coming up.
That sounds really exciting, and also giving back. And something you said is you're working as a family together.
Yes.
You find most times we have situations where family members do not work together. It's I want to succeed and everybody else needs to look up to me. I'd commend this effort that you have because it's really, really awesome.
To me, it just makes sense. A lot of us cannot work together. What happens is the one seems to have the talent and be out front. And then if the other ones are working with them, they get jealous and they try to sabotage. That just doesn't work well. This works really well because my brother is mainly into film and directing and special effects, and I'm more into the website end and graphics. Some of what we do crosses over. It works out really, really, really well.
Wow, that's amazing. The kind of stories that we hear is everybody's out for themselves, everybody's killing it on YouTube and all these other places. One of the issues is how to, you say you run different businesses, but the family dynamics. Mm-hmm. So do you have a meeting and say, this is what we're going to do collectively, or one person comes up with an idea, or I think this will be something we'll be good at? Because now that's a major, major challenge.
Well, we each have our own set of customers, we do work with. We come together periodically and say, okay, we want to expand and grow. So this year we're going to do X, and this year we're going to do Y. For instance, a few years ago, we added the hosting and domain names and SSLs as a product that we could offer, okay? This year, we are offering printing products. We're offering T-shirts and paper printed products such as business card flyers, that sort of thing. So we have a range of printed products that we can offer to people. So each year we say, hey, what can we do that will increase the business, expand the business, and yet not put too much of a load on us. Get into printed products, it's a good deal because they're recurring objects that you basically create them once and then people buy them repeatedly. When it comes to business cards, they either come up with their own design or they pay you to design it, and then the printing is done and shipped straight to the customers. It's not a lot of work on our end. We don't need to actually add people in order to do stuff like that. With the domain names and the SSL, we have a website people can go to and purchase those items. Then they're recurring. It helps in keeping income stable to grow the business and pay for the business expenses. Like I said, we generally meet in the beginning of the year, somewhere between December and January, and decide, okay, this is what we're going to add in this year. And then we meet periodically to make those things happen. It's a process because we're all very busy. My brother in particular, he still has kids in school, so he has to do the kid thing and the work thing. It's a lot of balancing, but it's very worthwhile. It's fun.
You've been listening to Conversation with Dorethea, and it's been great to have you here. There's a lot of insight. In fact, I was taking notes even as I was listening right now to the interview again, even as I publish this. Go out there and support businesses like Dorethea making impactful change at this time. And I think it's a great time in history where we get to witness this and we get to be change agents. And also there's a lot of people who are looking for reinvention. There are people who are looking for a way out and all these things. Be the change, be the change. it's never too little, it's never too late, it's never too old, you're never too young. Go into the world and do what you want to do already. Thanks for listening. My name is Daniel Duwa. Let's catch each other on the next conversation with Daniel Duwa. If you want to be on the conversation with me, I'm easy to reach. My name is Daniel Duwa. That is DANIELDUWA. I'm easy to find. Just put that on your search engine. You find me, reach out. So please reach out. Until the next one, this has been Conversation with Daniel Duwa. Today my guest has been Dorethea Kemp, and Conversation with Daniel Duwa. You're in good company. Thanks for listening. Until next time.